and welcome back to the Keys Kids channel, and I'm Miss Keys. We are back again. I know you didn't think you would see me so soon, but bam, here I am. How are you guys? I know that you are excited because this is double upload. That's right, you guys. You got a brand new video Wednesday. And now, today, Saturday, you're getting a whole nother video. And I'm so excited to bring this story to you. Now, remember, we are in the month of April. I love April. I am so excited that it's April. I'm so excited to share that April energy with you. We are also in our bedtime series. That's when you guys lay back, relax, and enjoy the vibes. Cue the vibes. That's right, you guys. We are going to lay back, relax, and enjoy the story we are reading. I love bringing lessons to you guys, but I really love when we do these types of series where you can really journey into a book just because it's awesome. Just to have fun, just to love the reading. So I am so excited to bring another classic. I guess it's just classics month here. I'm bringing you another classic, one of my favorite little stories. I am so excited. We are going to be reading Librarian by Michelle Knudsen, illustrated by Kevin Hawks. I'm so excited to share this story with you. I love this little lion. I love the message of this story, and I'm glad you guys can just sit back, relax, and find your favorite part. Find that enjoyment. So I'm gonna quit running my mouth now. Are you guys ready to read? Well then, put on your reading hats and let's go! Librarian by Michelle Knudsen, illustrated by Kevin Hawks. One day, a lion came to the library. He walked right past the circulation desk and up into the stacks. Mr. McBee ran down the hall to the head librarian's office. "Mrs. Merriweather!" he called. "No running," said Mrs. Merriweather without looking up. "But there's a lion," said Mr. McBee. "In the library!" "Is he breaking any rules?" asked Mrs. Merriweather. She was very particular about rule breaking. "Well, no," said Mr. McBee. "Not really." "Then leave him be." The lion wandered all around the library. He sniffed the card catalog. He rubbed his head against the new book collection. Then he padded over to the story corner and went to sleep. No one was sure what to do. There weren't any rules about lions in the library. Well, let me tell you, this lion sounds like me if he just read some books and went to sleep. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys, if I was one of them people, I would have ran my whole heart out. "We gotta get out of here. There's a lion." I'd have been gone, y'all. Soon it was time for story hour. There weren't any rules about lions at story hour either. The story lady seemed nervous, but she read out the first book's title in a good, clear voice. The lion looked up. The story lady kept reading. The lion stayed for the next story, and the story after that. He waited for another story, but the children began to walk away. "Story hour is over," a little girl told him. "It's time to go." The lion looked at the children. He looked at the story lady. He looked at the closed books. Then he roared very loud. Miss Merriweather came striding out of her office. "Who is making making that noise?" she demanded. "It's the lion," said Mr. McBee. Miss Merriweather marched over to the lion. "If you cannot be quiet, you will have to leave," she said in a stern voice. "Those are the rules." The lion kept roaring. He sounded sad. The little girl tugged on Miss Merriweather's dress. "If he promises to be quiet, can he come back for story hour tomorrow?" she asked. The lion stopped roaring. He looked at Mrs. Merriweather. Miss Merriweather looked back. Then she said, "Yes, a nice, quiet lion would certainly be allowed to come back for story hour tomorrow." "Hooray!" said the children. The next day, the lion came back. "You are early," said Miss Merriweather. "Story hour is not until 3 o'clock." The lion did not budge. "Very well," said Miss Merriweather. "You might as well make yourself useful." She sent him off to dust the encyclopedias until it was time for story hour. The next day, the lion came early again. This time, Miss Merriweather asked him to lick all the envelopes for overdue notices. Soon the lion began doing things without being asked. He dusted the encyclopedias, he licked the envelopes, he let small children stand on his back to reach books on the highest shelves. Then he curled up in the story corner to wait for story hour to begin. At first, the people in the library were nervous about the lion. "I would be too, y'all!" But soon, they got used to having him around. In fact, he seemed very well suited for the library. His big feet were quiet on the library floor. He made a comfy backrest for the children at story hour, and he never roared in the library anymore. "What a helpful lion," people said. They patted his soft head as he walked by. "How did we ever get along without him?" Mr. McBee scowled when he heard that. They had always gotten along fine before. No lions were needed. Lions, he thought, could not understand rules. They did not belong in the library. One day, after he dusted all the encyclopedias and licked all the envelopes and helped all the small children, the lion padded down the hall to Miss Merriweather's office to see what else there was to do. There was still some time left before story hour. "Hello, lion," said Miss Merriweather. "I know something you can do. You can bring a book back into the stacks for me. Let me just get it down from the shelf." Miss Merriweather stepped up onto the step stool. The book was just out of reach. Miss Merriweather stood on her tippy toes. She stretched out her fingers. "Almost there," she said. Then Miss Merriweather stretched a little too far. "Ouch!" said Miss Merriweather softly. She did not get up. "Mr. McBee," she called after a minute. "Mr. McBee!" But Mr. McBee was at the circulation desk. He could not hear her calling. "Lion," said Miss Merriweather, "please go and get Mr. McBee." The lion ran down the hall. "No running," Miss Merriweather called after him. The lion put his big front paws up on the circulation desk and looked at Mr. McBee. "Go away, lion," said Mr. McBee. "I'm busy." The lion whined. He pointed his nose down the hall towards Miss Merriweather's office. Mr. McBee ignored him. Finally, the lion did the only thing he could think of to do. He looked at Mr. McBee right in the eye. Then he opened his mouth very wide, and he roared the loudest roar he had ever roared in his life. Mr. McBee gasped. "You are not being quiet!" he said to the lion. "You are breaking the rules!" Mr. McBee walked down the hall as fast as he could. The lion did not follow him. He had broken the rules. He knew what that meant. He hung his head and walked towards the doors. Mr. McBee did not notice. "Miss Merriweather!" he called as he walked. "Miss Merriweather! The lion broke the rules! The lion broke the rules!" Look, Mr. McBee, I know it's odd that there's a lion in there, but you are being a little rough, sir. The lion is trying to be nice. He burst into Miss Merriweather's office. She was not in her chair. "Miss Merriweather?" he asked. "Sometimes, Miss Merriweather," from the floor behind her desk, "there is a good reason to break the rules, even in the library. Now please go call a doctor. I think I've broken my arm." Mr. McBee ran to call a doctor. "No running!" Miss Merriweather called after him. The next day, things were back to normal. Almost. Miss Merriweather's left arm was in a cast. The doctor had told her not to work too hard. "I will have my lion to help me," Miss Merriweather thought. But the lion did not come to the library that morning. At 3 o'clock, Miss Merriweather walked over to the story corner. The story lady was just beginning a story for the children. The lion was not there. People in the library kept looking up from their books and computer screens, hoping they would see a familiar furry face. But the lion did not come that day. The lion did not come the next day either, or the next day after that. One evening, Mr. McBee stopped by Miss Merriweather's office on his way out. "Can I do anything for you before I go, Miss Merriweather?" he asked her. "No, thank you," said Miss Merriweather. She was looking out the window. Her voice was very quiet, even for the library. Mr. McBee frowned as he walked away. He thought there was probably something he could do for Miss Merriweather after all. Mr. McBee left the library, but he did not go home. He walked around the neighborhood. He looked under the cars. He looked behind the bushes. He looked in backyards and trash cans and tree houses. Finally, he circled all the way back to the library. The lion was sitting outside looking through the glass doors. "Hello, lion," said Mr. McBee. The lion did not turn around. "I thought you liked to know," said Mr. McBee. There is a new rule at the library. No roaring allowed unless you have a very good reason. Say if you're trying to help a friend who's been hurt, for example." The lion's ear twitched. He turned around, but Mr. McBee was already walking away. The next day, Mr. McBee walked down the hall to Miss Merriweather's office. "What is it, Mr. McBee?" asked Miss Merriweather in her new, sad, quiet voice. "I thought you might like to know," said Mr. McBee, "that there's a lion in the library." Miss Merriweather jumped up from her chair and ran down the hall. Mr. McBee smiled. "No running," he called after her. Miss Merriweather did not listen. Sometimes there was a good reason to break the rules, even in the library. The end. I love a story like this because it's such a good, refreshing, loving story. I really hope you enjoyed this story as much as I do. I could read it over and over again. I read it to my class. I watch it online. I love this story. Leave me a comment below. What was your favorite part? What did you enjoy? Now remember, Monday on the Keys Kids channel Instagram, you'll find our next book of the week and the last book in April. But Saturday, right here on the Keys Kids channel YouTube, you'll find me reading to you. Please don't forget to go like, subscribe, share with everyone you know, and leave a comment below. What's a book you would like me to read? Other than that, you guys, it's time to go. But no worries, because I'm going to see you guys next week on the Keys Kids channel. Bye! See you next week.